Hello and welcome to ROK on Racing, bringing you the most up-to-date live horse racing stories from Republic of Korea. I'm your host, Joe, and here next to me is Alissa Middleton. Hello, Alissa.
Hello, Joe.
Well, this Sunday is a big one. This is Blue Ribbon event for 3 years old in Korea, and it is Korean Derby weekend. Well, this is the first Group 1 race of the year and second leg to Triple Crown Series.
Indeed, racing over 1,800 metres at Seoul Racecourse, it's the 20th running of the Korean Derby.
It's as old as I am.
Really? Okay.
Well, were you here for the most of the events?
I would love to say I wasn't, but actually I probably have been, yes.
Well, are there any others that you particularly remember of?
Right, well, I mean, the Korean Derby every year is a good race. It's an unpredictable race every year. It's a fun race every year. I'd have to say, standing out last year, Powerblade in the rain, on his way to the Triple Crown. That one stands out. The
one that made through the Triple Crown. Well, Korean Derby is the most festive event throughout the year. So without further ado, let us have a look at the race, starting by looking at runners and riders. Well, 10 runners, and we've got several of the standing out 3 years old, but looks like these standing out ones have already shown their competence in KRBC Cup Mile.
Right, we've got 10 runners, 7 of them ran in the KRBC Cup Mile. Only Taeyoungi Shinhwa, Jangsan Power and Adele Ace are newcomers to the Triple Crown Trail. All of the top 5 place getters in the mile, they take their chance again on Sunday.
Okay, let's first have a look at KRBC Cup Mile. By that means, but KRBC Cup Mile was held last month, about April 2nd at Busan.
Right, well, 11 lined up for that race, 3 from Seoul, the rest were representing the home track. That was, of course, Busan. And as we mentioned, 7 of those 11, they return this time.
So, without further ado, let's look at the race. Okay, KRBC Cup Mile. The winner of the race turned out to be Indian King, but it seems like fans hoped otherwise.
Well, certainly quite a few bettors hoped otherwise. Yeah, it was the first 2 place getters from last year's championship race, the Breeders' Cup, at Seoul, who were sent off as the favourites, Final Boss and Daeho Shide. Both had an impressive lead up to the race, but neither really made an impression on the day. Likewise, Muhan Yeoljong, third in the Breeders' Cup, made little impact, while Lion Rock, previously unbeaten, faltered at the start and was never involved.
Right, instead it was 75 to 1 shot Indian King who made the win, and just rounding the turn, taking the initiative, never looked back. It was American Power, Royal Ruby, who tried to close really strongly from the back, but under the British jockey, Daryl Holland, just hold on to win.
Yeah, it was a great ride by Daryl Holland, very well timed ride. Royal Ruby was second, which made for a 1,700 to 1 exacta on the day. American Power was a very close third as well. And of course, they step up to 1,800 metres this time instead of a mile for the rematch.
Well, people say that Indian King was a surprise, but looking at the race, seems like he had the chance. He had the valid chance. But how's the horse condition? Right,
well, as we mentioned, it was a great ride by Daryl Holland in the Cup Mile. Holland returns to the ride on Indian King this Sunday. And Daryl Holland, yeah, he says he's very, very confident about the horse. He says Indian King's condition, if anything, here we can see in the track work.
Right, we're now looking at the morning track work for Indian King.
Yeah, he said, if anything, he's better than ever.
Right.
Yeah, and they've been working in track work just to ensure he can stay on firmly in the last furlong.
Indian King was actually the lowest rated of the entire field going into the race. He placed 6th in the Breeders' Cup and began the year placing 2/3 and 1 second.
Yeah, and in the Cup Mile, obviously unexpected, but he kicked for home early on the bend. The others just couldn't get to him.
Right.
He galloped on very, very nicely. He looked as if he still had a little bit more in the tank as well, which obviously he's going to need over the 1,800 metres at Seoul on Sunday. He does look the kind of horse who could take to Seoul. He looks like the horse who could really fit in at Seoul. He's obviously raced here in the capital before, only managed to come 6 over 1,400 metres last December, but he's a much better horse now. He's got a big chance.
Well, Indian King, would he do it again? Well, last year, Triple Crown Series was swept all by the Triple Crown winner, Powerblade. But if we were to complete the Triple Crown Series, it's only going to be Indian King who's capable of doing it.
That's right.
But it seems like there are many other contenders, and we're now going to look at the main contender who was second getter of the last KRBC Cup Mile, and that is Royal Ruby. And Royal Ruby, this was March 5th, race 5 at Busan, class 4, 1800 meters, same exact distance, but he looks good here.
Yeah, ROK certainly looks good here, and he proved a couple of things this day back in March.
Right.
Obviously at the distance 1800 meters, so he proved he gets 1800 meters. He proves he gets up as well. This was a real sort of gutsy performance to get up. He went all the way. It was a narrow victory in the end. Running on very nicely. That's exactly what he's going to need to do on Sunday at Seoul. After this race, it was a little bit of surprise that he was 33-1 going into the Cup Mile, given that this form was pretty solid. Obviously, in the Cup Mile, he trailed the field until halfway, but he then absolutely flew home. He got within half a length of Indian King on the line. Obviously, he's won at 1800 meters before. First time at Seoul, so obviously that is going to be a question. But I think he's got a very strong chance. It wouldn't surprise me if he was the favourite.
We've just now looked at the morning track work for ROK. Are there any words from Peter Woolsey, the trainer?
Again, in good condition, has travelled up well, and every reason to be confident of a good run.
Yes, the trainer and the jockey are very confident about ROK. Expected a good runner. And now we've just looked at the two runners from the visitors from Busan, and now we'll have to talk about the runner from home track, Seoul runner, and this one is Final Boss. Final Boss, class 3, 1800 meter Final Boss. Looking at here, this race, he flew home.
Oh, Final Boss was super impressive heading into the Cup Mile.
Right.
And yeah, he looked very good in those two lead-up races. He beat some honest rather than spectacular opposition. And you can see him here really just going away of a field he was far too good for. It was an impressive win.
As you can see what it means by flying.
Yes. Now, he went down to Busan. Obviously, he was very, very well backed because he'd beaten plenty of those in the Breeders' Cup last year. He just didn't seem himself in the Breeders' Cup. We can see him here in track work. He's looking better than he looked in Busan. I think that is a key thing. In the Cup Mile, he didn't travel well in the first half of the race, but he finished off.
We're looking at him galloping right now. He looks all right.
He does look all right. He looks better than he did in Busan. I think that's the key thing. He finished off the race in Busan really well. He came home, I think, faster than all of the others except perhaps ROK. And that was on a bad day. I think it's going to be very important to have a look at Final Boss in the parade ring. Does he look good? Is he in good shape? If he is, he's going to be dangerous.
Right, Final Boss. Trainers and grooms says that they worked on really hard to feed him well so he can stay on the well condition. We'll have to see how it turned out at the parade ring, so stay tuned with us. And now we have time for one more runner, and we're now going to talk about this one who went off to slight favorite, and that is 대호시대. 대호시대, February 5th, race 5 at Busan. This was also over 1800 meters. He placed the win.
Yeah, well, this was the first of two very, very solid prep races that Daehoshide put in. There were some decent horses in this race as well. It wasn't a poor race. He was ridden patiently. He really kicked close to home. He kicked away from this field. He went on to win by, 4 lengths on the line. And that late kick was one of the reasons he was sent off, that slight favourite in the Cup Mile. It just didn't quite come off for him. He was rather one-paced in the mile. I can see here is his track work this week. The little kick just didn't happen for him that day. But still, he ended up in 4th place. It wasn't a bad run. And
there you go, he's running down the stretch.
Yeah, again, he seems to have travelled okay. He looks in good form. Can he kick for home? Can he do it in the closing stages this time that he was unable to do at Busan? We'll see. He's run at Seoul before. He finished 2nd in the Breeders' Cup, and I think he's probably worthy of another chance this time.
And now we've just looked at the prime contenders. Are there any others that we have to look at?
Right, I think obviously the one that really stands out is American Power.
Right.
American Power was 3rd in the Cup Mile, and it was a good performance. He just got taken down by ROK close to the line. He was 3rd favourite that day, finished in 3rd place, so lived up exactly to expectations. He's from the Kim Yong-gwon stable as well, American Power. Obviously, Kim Yong-gwon has a fantastic record in this race, not least with Powerblade last year on his way to the Triple Crown. So American Power, not to be ruled out.
Right. 3rd favourite and placed 3rd. Just exactly living up to the potentials. And now, also, we have to look at Lion Rock. This one is from Seoul. Didn't particularly do great at last time KRBC Cup Mile. but still needs more experience, but this time also with plenty of chance, Lion Rock. But also we cannot opt out Muhan Yeoljeong, who's now Yonekura Satoshi, the Japanese jockey, is taking them out.
Right, well, Muhan Yeoljeong, again, very, very talented. He was a disappointment in the Cup Mile, as you said. He was very well backed, but he was just a little bit anonymous. It was a touch unlucky in the run as well. He just didn't get a chance to come through with his best run.
Right.
That did come off the back of a really, really good comprehensive win the time before. So we'll see. Was the mile a one-off? Would he go better this time?
He used to run really well.
He did.
In the other races. So also there with plenty of chances.
I think probably the others you'd have to fancy are long shots, those being Taeyangi Shinhwa, Adele Ace and Jangsan Power. But we saw a 75-1 winner in the first leg. Anything can happen. Anything can happen.
Well, a tricky contest is prepared for you here for Korean Derby. Who is going to be the winner for Korean Derby? We're soon about to find out through KRBC. So stay tuned with us here at KRBC.